Well, here we are, the end of the course. You guys have made it through this course over the 6 weeks. We only have a few more days to go. I'm shooting this on Tuesday, and the course is going to end Sunday. I want to congratulate everybody for getting through to this point. I know that the material can be very technically challenging at times. You guys have done a great job. Actually, you've probably been the strongest group that's come through this course in quite a long time. And then when you consider that it's over the summer and it's a compressed format, you guys have done a fantastic job there. So congratulations on getting through this material. Remember, at the very beginning of the course, my goal wasn't to make you financial gurus, but was to give you some basic understandings of the principles of finance that will help you to make better decisions, either kind of on a micro level within your own profession, understand how the healthcare system is underpinned, with financial decisions. Everything is driven by finance, or it's a huge driver of everything within healthcare, and that can mean your career opportunities as well. And then if you go on to management or leadership roles, or are in those roles now, you're obviously making decisions on a daily basis, and a component of almost every one of those decisions has a financial piece to it. So that's really what we wanted to get out of this course. Some of the technical stuff that you played with was really to help you reinforce these larger concepts. And that's the stuff that I hope you'll remember a few years down the road. You won't remember the minutia. You might remember the calculators that we used, and know there's a lot of easier ways to calculate things by just finding some calculator on the internet. But the concepts are really the ones that I want you to go away with, because you're probably not going to bust out an internal rate of return as a manager. You may have that done for you by a finance department, but I want you to know what internal rate of return means and all these other concepts, these definitions. So I think mission accomplished. All right, in this video, what I want to do is talk about how we're going to finish this course and give you some essential reminders before the course is over, Sunday at midnight. All right, so let's take a look at what we're doing this week, our last course review here. We've got 2 parts in here. I talked a little bit about that last week, giving you a little look ahead. Hopefully some of you, and I know some of you have, because I've seen the work being turned in, have started to last week work on this module. But we have 2 parts to this module. We have revenue cycle, and also we have ratio analysis. Ratio analysis is really cool, because that's where you take a couple of numbers typically, and you use a couple of numbers to come up with a number. And that number is used as a benchmark against other indicators. So you can kind of get the temperature of a project or an organization using ratio analysis. So you'll be looking a little bit into that. All right, and then obviously we have the final exam. Now, I talked about the final exam last week, but just as a reminder, the final exam is comprehensive. And please look at those your other 2 midterms that we've had. The midterm is graded, the one that you took last week. So look at both midterms, because those questions are going to come back. Maybe slightly changed, but definitely look at those 2 midterms. Understand what you got wrong. Remember the ones that you got right before you go into this final. Most students do really well on the final. I know that you kind of did generally lukewarm. We had about a B average on both of our midterms, which is to be expected. But you should be able to knock it out of the park with this final. There will be a couple of additional areas that aren't covered in the previous midterm that you've had. I think there's maybe 7-8 questions on parts 7 and 8. So just make sure you have a good general understanding of those, because you're going to see those questions pop up too. All right, so remember that. Make sure you go back and review those old midterms to prepare for the final, and you guys should do absolutely fantastic. All right, so we've got our normal learning, 2 learning activities, and a final this week. Also, I want to speak a little bit about late work. Now, some of you are missing some assignments, and I do accept late work. There is a deduction on points, to be fair to everybody that turned it in on time, but to get a 0 in the grade book on any one category, especially these learning activities, they're 50 points a pop, okay? So a 50-point deficit is pretty hard to crawl back from, okay? So for example, you do a learning activity, and you get 30 points out of 50. Well, that's, because of maybe a deduction on points for being late, a couple things not exactly correct, but anyhow, 30 out of 50. 30 out of 50 isn't too bad because you've only had a 20-point deficit. That can be made up with a couple of our extra credits. So, but a 0 is pretty hard to crawl back from with the 50 points. Remember, every 100 points in this course is approximately a letter grade. So you've already whacked off half a letter grade by missing one assignment. So enough about the grade math, but remember to get all the points you can. And I do accept late work. So please go ahead and make sure you, if you have time, turn that in, or if maybe you're looking at it and go, geez, I can't get both of these late assignments in, pick one of them, and push that through and get it in. The important thing to remember is that all assignments must be turned in by Sunday at midnight. The course shuts down, in essence, Sunday at midnight. That's Eastern time for those of you that might be on the West Coast or Mountain or Central time. So remember that. The course shuts down and you can't submit any more assignments. So get everything in. Then I need to turn around on Monday morning, grade whatever you've submitted and push out those grades usually by noon on Monday. So I don't have time to track you down, say, hey, we're missing a final. That would be terrible. But hey, I'm missing your final. I got to go with what's in the course at that point. Now, obviously, if some major issue comes up, that's a major issue. You'll know to contact me and let me know. But other than that, get everything in by Sunday at midnight. All right. So that kind of concludes what we've got going on with the course. Make sure that you get all your work in. This week will be a little difficult, but remember to study for that final by using the midterm. All right. So with that, I want to again thank everybody for this course. I'm not sure if I'll post another video by the end of it. Again, I'm shooting this on Tuesday, so I want to thank all of you for participating in this journey over the past 6 weeks. Again, I know that you've found the material. Some of you have really loved it, really geeked about finance, and then some of you are like, oh, this is hard. But remember that it's necessary. It's so much, again, it's, whether we like it or not, shapes so much of healthcare. And I think, we can bury our head in the sand and pretend it doesn't exist, but that doesn't help us. And that doesn't help our patients, and that doesn't help the organizations that we work for. So we have to understand the reality of the context to which things work. So that's why I like to think finance is really an important topic. All right, everybody. Finish strong and then take a few weeks. You're going to have a few weeks off before classes start in fall. So, again, hope you get to recharge your batteries over that time period and enjoy a little bit of the summer. But again, thank you so much for being in this course. If you have any questions before we end or even beyond, you know how to get a hold of me. Don't hesitate to contact me. Thanks.